All right, guys, we're talking about practice. Welcome to the new year, but still the same old us. We're not trying to play games. We're not trying to pretend we're going to be anybody different than what we've always been, but maybe 1 or 2, maybe 3% better than who we are or where we want to be. 3% progress. That's our goal. That's our goal here. Same old us. 3% progress, 3% healed in comparison to where we've been. No pressure. Focusing on the energy is the only thing that's important. Focusing on our stress levels is focusing on our energy. There is no new year, new us. It's just us. It's us. Hello. It is more detrimental to our mental health to say we're going to do something and then not do it, rather than just be like, oh, I don't know, it's just the same old me, and maybe I can do a little bit better. That's healthier. That's healthier. It's healthier to do it that way. So that's the way we're going to do it. New year, same us, 3% better is the goal. You can hardly even tell the difference. It's still us, but we're making progress, we think, we hope, is our goal. So if you have grand goals for the new year, wonderful, stick with those. Don't beat yourself up if they don't happen. Just come back to here and we'll help you out. Don't lose that spark. Because, we underestimate what we can do in 5 years, but we overestimate what we can do in a year. That whole sentiment is supposed to be said backwards to add more emphasis or whatever. We overestimate what we can do in a year, but we underestimate what we can do in 5. So keep that in mind as you're approaching your new goals, new year resolutions, things. If you don't meet them, that's okay. Strive to. Do your best. Work your butt off. But also, if you don't meet them, don't give up. Don't give up, because it may be a 5-year goal instead of a 1-year goal. And sometimes we're not always great at recognizing what is a 1-year versus what is a 5-year. For sure, keep on hacking at that. Chipping away a little bit at a time. Slow and steady. That's how we get there. I believe in you and you can do it. It doesn't matter what it is. It's just that humans are notoriously incapable of predicting exactly how long things are going to take. So just keep that in mind. You're probably underestimating how long your goals are going to take, but that's okay, because we have the rest of our lives. We're here until we're not, and what else are we going to do with that time and other than just work on these wonderful things that we want in life? But we get them through the practice, a little bit at a time, every single day. Practice. And you hear the word practice a lot when studying, encountering spiritual type things. The practice of meditation, the practice of mindfulness, the practice of prayer, the practice of gratitude or of routine. Eating properly is a practice. Practicing the breath, practicing the posture, practicing awareness of our thoughts and questioning those and the beliefs that are behind them. Literally everything we do is a practice. Our routine is a practice. Everything that we do is a practice. And we can, most of us do those by default. It's just whatever we've been doing, we just keep doing. It's easier to just keep on keeping on rather than trying to mess with our patterns and stop certain patterns and reenact or enact other new patterns. But that's exactly where most of us are, is just redoing the same thing that we've always done, reenacting the same stories that we've always told in our heads to other people, within our routines. We have these stories, we have our habits, and those are all a practice. So, we've been talking about how grand lives are not created by grand gestures or grand acts or anything grand at all, really. It's just the smallest things, the chop wood, the carry water, everyday things that we do over and over again. Our itty bitty things build up brick by brick to create our grand lives. Therefore, if we're trying to manifest a new reality, bring in abundance, shift our timeline from this to that, we need to really think about what type of person have those things anyway. What kind of habits and routines are they doing on a day-to-day basis that creates brick by brick those types of patterns that create and bring in, attract abundance and good energy and peace and happiness and joy and good relationships and yada yada, whatever it is that we want. And sure, it can be super overwhelming because it's like, Savannah, if I knew, I'd be doing it. I'd be doing it. Great question, Savannah. What are regular, I say regular, quote unquote regular, the one percenters? We'll say the 1%. What are they doing on a day-by-day basis that creates all this for them? Well, okay, wait. I just stumbled across a tangent because the 1%ers, we're assuming, have what we want. Yes. And again, we're blinded by the luxury and the material. So if you take the luxury and material out of it, how many of those 1%ers actually have what we want? The peace, the happiness, the good relationships. How many of those have all that we are actually looking to acquire? But even so, if they do, what are their daily habits? And you know what? You don't even have to do the grunt work to figure that out because it's pretty well laid out for us already. Most successful people, the lowest common denominator are these spiritual practices that we've been talking about: the meditation, the mindfulness, the self-awareness, the shadow work, the questioning of the belief systems, the watching the words, the thoughts, and their connotations to the rest of the world. I've told this story a million times for how I ended up to where I am now. The very beginning, how I got started with all of this was I was sitting thinking, I had my journal, I was sitting journaling my thoughts, and I was like, okay, what do I want in life? Well, I want to be successful. Okay, what the hell does that even mean? Okay, what is success? So I started Googling. I literally Googled how to be successful. And that's when I stumbled across the world of personal development. And that's when I first knew it was a thing at all. And I started reading and I started watching YouTube videos. And I was like, okay. So first and foremost, you have to define what your idea of success is. Because culturally, we want to define success as like money, fame, status, all of these things that honestly, once you get into it, don't really matter. And I know that's easy to say from a privileged standpoint. Like if you have those things, then of course that you're not interested in those things, or you're like, oh, that's not it. But, trust me when I say that I agree with the experts when they say that that's not where happiness lies. It's really not. You need to define what success is for you specifically. And most likely that has to do more with emotions and how you feel rather than material things. So once you figure out what success means to you, you need to break it down into what brings you those types of feelings, emotions. And you know what? The monks already have it laid out for us. They really do. Material goods are fun, but they may or may not come. But the feelings, the emotions, those are always attainable no matter who you are or what your situations and circumstances are. They just take specific practices. And the practices are things that everyone have access to. It's things like breathing, posture, patience, relaxing the muscles, positive self-talk. Creating boundaries are really important, and you have to create boundaries with both yourself and others. Most of us think about creating boundaries with other people, and that is super, super, super important. But you also have to create boundaries with yourself so that you can hold yourself accountable and do the processes that help you meet these goals that you want. Because a lot of these things, they require discipline, and discipline is not always fun, but it is always rewarding in the end if you can just keep it up, hold steady, do it to it. Practicing releasing. Okay, releasing is a whole category of its own, just like boundaries is. You have to release the tension in your body. You have to release the past. You have to release the stories that you're holding on to that you think create your identity. Release. It is a whole thing. The art of surrender, the art of fuck it. Let it go. Let it go. I'm pretty sure I'm not allowed to sing the Frozen song. Moving on. Create space. Nothing can manifest in your life if there is no space and room for it to exist in your life. And I feel like I've talked about this. I don't know. All of my episodes are kind of running together at this point. I feel like I'm repeating myself over and over. So all in all, I'm going to be honest with you. I am going to probably take a break from the podcast a little bit. We're not going to go away completely. I want to bring more guests on. I need to talk to people. That's how we're going to re-up things. But I don't just want to willy-nilly have whoever doing whatever on. I want to be very specific with it, and to be very specific with it, you have to be. We're going for a quality over quantity vibe moving forward. So if you want to volunteer as tribute, or if you have somebody that you want me to speak to, let me know. Literally anyone. Okay, if you're listening to this, come on to the show. Let's talk about it. Open invitation. Anyway. The practice of creating space for things to come in. If you're always frazzled and strung out and overwhelmed, there's no room for anything new. There's no room for anything extra. So we have to let go. We have to clear. We have to release all of the things that are not for us, in order to make room for things that are for us, in order to make room for things that we want to come in. You can't manifest. What does the word mean? Manifest. You're bringing things in. You're creating a thing. It can't exist if there's no room for it. And sometimes creating room is really scary for people. Sometimes we don't like space. We don't like the void. We don't like the silence that allows our thoughts to come up, that allows our feelings and emotions to come up. Because if you have free time, if you have space, allowing boredom, what happens? Oftentimes that's when our emotions arise, and that's when, because the problems that we have and that need working through, they're sitting in the background of our subconscious all the time, and they're dictating things whether we realize they are or not, and they're just waiting for their opportunity to come forward. They're patient. They're way more patient than we are. They're waiting for their opportunity to come forth and be worked through so that they can be cleared and processed and integrated and move on and into the ether. But that is uncomfortable, okay? And that's why we subconsciously feel every moment every moment of our life we feel with things, with stuff, with scrolling, with consumption of this or that or those. And we don't realize we're doing it, but we are, in an effort to avoid the space that allows these things to come up and be processed and cleared, okay, because it's uncomfortable. But that's where the magic is. That's a practice all of its own. A practice of creating space is a practice of healing. A practice of creating space is a practice of healing. It's a practice of manifesting, because you can't bring something in, you can't bring something new in if there's no space for it. You know, how many times has a friend asked you to, oh, I'm so into, let's say pickleball as an example. Your friend's like, oh, I'm so into pickleball, you should come play pickleball with me. And you're like, oh yeah, that sounds like a blast, but I don't have time. I'm so sorry. I would love to have time, but I don't have time. Sorry, there's no time for pickleball with your friend, but you have time to scroll on Facebook. And I mean, like 5-10 minutes that's still like, and then you have time to start a new show and watch that, and you have time to feed the toxic friend or the toxic relative or the toxic habit. Or this is not me being judgy, this is me throwing out examples, and if they fit, great, and if they don't, great. Only you can decide. Only you can decide what is worth your time and energy and effort and what is not. We all are given the same 24 hours in a day. And I suggest, and you can take this with a grain of salt, because live your life, do what makes you happy. I suggest only giving any sort of time and energy that you have to that which satiates your goals. So does it make you happy? Does it make you peaceful? Does it inspire you? Does it motivate you? Does it fulfill your needs of purpose and fulfillment? Does it satiate those needs for connection and community? Whatever your goals are specifically, we each have habits and things and decisions and choices that we do day by day by day by day, and individually we don't even realize them. They take 5 minutes, they take 2 minutes, they take 30 seconds sometimes, but together they build brick by brick what we want. And it's up to us to decide if they are building the palace that we so desire, or if they are catering to that which we already have and are unsatisfied with. And even the smallest of things have the biggest of impacts. So drink more water, take deeper breaths, create space, and protect your peace. Hold your boundaries and tell people no. Reach out to the people you find interesting and optimistic and a joy to be around. Limit that which drains you and eat good food that is healthy for your body. Remember to have patience and remember to hold your boundaries. Release and relax and talk to yourself so kindly and compassionately with all of the love, because being human is hard and you're doing a great job at it no matter what. The world is a force to be reckoned with, and we're doing our best. Practice day by day and little by little. It is the smallest things that make the grandest of difference. You are so important, and you are doing a great job. Don't let anyone bring you down. You are worth every bit of everything you want, and anyone who says otherwise just doesn't know how to get that for themselves, and they're jealous that you're doing so good. I love you so much. Thank you for being here. Namaste. I'll speak to you when I see you.